too aggressive, loses his Purify too, and that's also the gold crab. So a lot of gold for TLID in the beginning of the game.
Overestimation there coming in from CW, and he gets punished for that. And here is now, of course, you want it to be kind of like Snowball because it is a lane bully, especially against a Moskov who doesn't really have the range but has that escape mechanism.
Gonna be caught there just a bit of damage with what Wolf usually calls the vacuum. That's a yin-yang reaction.
Right. Again, the emblems earlier though, you saw a basic emblem actually used by Kabuki here. He wants to sustain, he knows the lane can be difficult against Harith, so that's the option he went for. And for Team Liquid as well, Yawi went for the firmness and tenacity combo. So just purely looking to be more of a bit of a frontliner to ensure his team can make plays, but look at that!
James gonna be caught like it, Pounce coming down, Kairi picking up the kill down below to make it all but even again.
Oh, this turtle will be up for the taking for Fnatic Onyx, especially James now having to walk back to his lane to defend this turtle. Will Team Liquid Indonesia just relinquish this, or will they fight for this? I feel like it's going to be very close now. Keyboy.
Oh, trying to go for the steal on the orange buff, forces good to use the red tree. Now they're gonna go for the invade. Keyboy still has the ult. Ludpi final stocking, and James back into the way of the dragon. Not able to pop in the primal rat. The minute Fury gets popped down, but it only knocks Ludpi up. Now with another knock up down, Ludpi's split back with the vengeance, getting to sustain. Gugun unable to get the kill, and TLID get completely outplayed by Fnatic Onyx.
My goodness, Ludpi, Houdini, and Richie now under pressure as well. Keyboy just trying to make up even more space, zoning out that Yi. A good turtle take coming in, and Ludpi just survives for so long.
I mean, he just made a play again and again, man, with the vengeance. That's Arlott gameplay for you. I think for Team Liquid, they gotta be a bit more careful about it. Fnatic Onyx is playing the fights, man. They're going in and out, and they're very annoying with how they're positioning some of their heroes on the sides, right? Keyboy was just taking away so much attention that by the time Team Liquid can go for a play, they were the ones who were engaged on by Ludpi, even though they were the ones who originally were the ones walking towards the fight to begin with. 1.6k gold advantage right here. It's gonna be a bit difficult for Team Liquid to try and pull ahead. We talked about statements, right? As much as his statement is for Kairi, for Ludpi, it is for Gugun as well, because we've seen him being mentioned as being good on this asset, but he hasn't really pulled off or show that performance just yet.
Yeah, talent predictions by Gope has seen a few talents up predicting towards Fnatic Onyx, but now, so take a look at the item being made here. No Thunderbelt for Kairi, he opts for the Wind Talker, which is kind of much more aggressive, and you get that attack speed and as well as that clear speed damage in the few minutes of the first game.
On top of that, Ludpi has the Thunderbelt, a great synergy with the kit of that means that on the Arlott here, he can itemize a bit more aggressively, just the way Ludpi likes it, and still be relatively tanky enough for that late game. So that's one more issue that Team Liquid has to keep in mind here. They do have the advantage still when it comes to the prolonged damage, when it comes to the long team fight. Look at Yawi though, being set behind.
Diversion, Kairi spots him though. This time he walks into the right bush. Yawi is able to escape for a bit, now flickers back towards the turtle. Now Minus Fury gonna be popped in. Kairi still is able to out-retreat Gugun. Now gets brought back again by the way of the dragon, and Ludpi claims the kill.
There has been about Kairi's retribution not being on point, but he out-retries the Retry King. Keyboy just looking to even exert more pressure. That's a good thing coming in from Yawi wasn't enough, and San's looking for even a play here.
Ooh, terrifying them down, man, and the layering of CC, by the way, for Fnatic Onyx has been absolutely phenomenal.
And look at the wave here they have at every single lane. They're always in the right place at the right time. There is a diversion available for Team Liquid ID, but they're just not allowed to actually make that play happen. The mid lane is completely controlled by the aggression, by Keyboy, just constantly the base, just standing around, recalling, as we see right here. And because of that, Team Liquid are always one step behind right here. Even if you look at the jungle, King Gugun hasn't been relatively invaded, but he is 2 levels below from Kairi.
And Richie hasn't been able to kind of maximize this low Yi potential as James looks for Keyboy.
Now immobilized, Keyboy still able to escape, but James not in range. He used the flicker to try to gap close, but still wasn't enough.
It was me, and now it was Keyboy who cheats death for the second time. And he just survives that long after what would look like a death sentence for him.
That's a tilt, man. It was so close yet so far. And now it's back to the drawing board. Onyx now setting up a trap once more, just waiting around. And look at Sans picking out the Primal Wrath. So when it comes down to it, when they go for a long, drawn-out fight, there's a chance that Fnatic Onyx can still get the better of Team Liquid. They have solutions available, and with the gold advantage increasing more, you can see that it's going to be more difficult for Team Liquid to even open up the map. They're looking at more crowd control, more frontliners, but even with a Minotaur, even with an Edith, now they're always on the back foot just because of Keyboard here, just zoning with presence alone. He's not using a lot of spells, a lot of skills when he's just trying to do this and push Team Liquid back.
And even Guggen off the wings, a much more defensive build in which you would expect the Julian to snowball to get that burst going on. The Fnatic Onyx just on the front foot. Team Liquid ID, this is looking from bad to worse for them. And now they're looking for Keyboy for the second time, but Keyboy just a nuisance with the Cho. He has been making plays here and there. Final slash!
They find Guggen, but he's unable to fully capitalize on that final slash there. Guggen, obviously on the Julian, still very, very flexible. He's, what's the term? Usually?
Elusive.
No, like slippery.
Yeah,
He's slippery.
He is very slippery.
Elusive works there. Elusive, slippery, kind of?
I think slippery is more meme.
And you can take a look at Kabuki having that golden staff. Will this be the power spike? Because you have to kind of just ramp up that attack speed, and then you could get a few spears here and there. And Moskov does get scarier as the late game goes. Are they going to bank on Moskov alone, or will Julian be rising up?
At this point, when it comes to DPS, they kind of have to. Julian, as good as the empowered basic attacks are from the passive, he's still very much burst in nature. And for Keyboy rushing the Athenas, by the way, it's going to be so difficult because he's going to be negating a lot of that magical damage. So Kabuki has to look at to try and stop Keyboy from just being this massive problem.
Yeah, game fact by Gope, but a final slash missed before that. Team Liquid with the highest first blood rate, 59.99%. We also touted Super Ken as the first blood king, but as the team with the most first blood, you would expect Team Liquid Indonesia to kind of like have at least some sort of retaliation, but again, the zoning potential coming in from Fnatic Onyx is insane. Keyboy has been everywhere around the map, and Team Liquid ID feels like they can't really address, even with this Luo Yi backline access potential, they haven't been able to do so.
Yeah, I mean, it's not that bad still, despite, obviously the 3,700 gold lead is looking bleak for TLID in the mid game, but if you take a look at their structures, it's still mostly up. They've only lost some tier 1s actually, and they've actually kind of equalized in that department, getting trades around the map, so it's not as bad as it looks so far. They should still be able to look for that power spike, like you mentioned, for Kabuki and Guggen.
Yeah, the power spikes, of course, being eyed upon, eyeballs towards the items, but how long will ID just stand there and wait for their items to go? This Lord in the hands of Fnatic Onyx for the taking. Looks like they want to contest this. Another flash.
Could have been his fury though. Sans still able to displace himself. Primal up now. Retro Guggen wins it out. Yaoi gonna be caught in the back, but they've already secured a neutral objective. That's another member down to trade for the neutral objective. They get their carries out and they'll sacrifice just their frontliners.
The Retribution King. Once a prince, now a king. He steals the most important objective, which is the Lord.
Kabuki gonna be mauled down by Kairi, and he goes under the turret to secure another Guggen falls as well. Kairi, in his first game back in MPL Indo, picks up a triple under the base turret.
Killer instinct from Fnatic Onyx. Out of nowhere, an explosion of action as Team Liquid were kind of underestimating the threat. We talked about the burst damage from Fnatic Onyx, and you're seeing it there. 3 members deleted out of nowhere with the Lord in the top side. Team Liquid are unable to capitalize and even lost the structure in the bottom side as well. CW picked up the Holy Crystal earlier, and Kairi now has the Sky Piercer too. But they're going to get difficult for Team Liquid if they can't maintain the front line. They have DPS available right here, but if the front line gets deleted just like that, there's no way, man. They have to find ways to draw this fight out even longer.
Talked about both these XP laners, James and Lutfi, both playmakers, both so creative, so proactive to make the plays, but it has been only Lutfi in the first 10 minutes of the game. James nowhere to be seen. This is looking bleak for Team Liquid ID, as now Fnatic Onyx just sieges forth towards that top lane, even just giving more pressure. Now going back to the build, Sky Piercer being opted as the, 5th item for Roger, for Kairi. You would expect the Sky Piercer to be made in the first minutes of the game. first item or second item, but to get the stacks, of course. But what is the idea of making the Sky Piercer as kind of like your last item?
Well, the longer the game goes, the more the rest of the teammates have damage as well. So the opponents get lower. Like we saw earlier, 3 members immediately nuked down. So with the Sky Piercer, it's a lot more dangerous now. Whereas earlier, if Kairi went for the Thunderbelt earlier, right, it allows him to get more slows available as well if he wants to be all up in the front line. So I feel like it's a big in itemization, because for the most part, Team Liquid aren't really all that squishy either. Ludwig though looking for a chance to make a play once more right here. Even with Purifies, the whole team is just forced to back away.
Ludwig just walking them down, telling them to go back to the base.
Man.
But I do have a fun fact here for everybody back at home. TLID in the last 2 seasons of MPL, they've always been able to overcome Fnatic Onyx in the first leg, and that being also 2-0 wins. It was 2-0 to Aura, then now Liquid in season 13, and it was also the same in season 12. First leg when Iran first joined James. Maybe found Minus Fury still there, knocking up Kairi. They're still going to be able to displace themselves. King Gugun, going to call Minus Fury, traded upon them again by Sans. Kairi still able to escape. Kabuki, Spear of Destruction to the back. Sans still able to escape for a big. Goes for a win of crown, and Lumpy tries to go for the trade. Does it in style. Kabuki claims a double. And it's a win for TLID for now. 3 members taken down right as the fun fact comes around.
The late game power of Team Liquid in manifestation. The Moskov just riles to the backline of Fnatic Onyx with Kabuki carrying that fight and the Lord in their eyes now. Could this be the saving grace for Team Liquid ID?
I think it's a great play for Team Liquid to just rely on their crowd control. G-Boy makes a very bold play right there, but Team Liquid will be able to secure that Lord finally. And with their composition, relying more on being able to group as 5, to try and engage those 5 as 5 without being caught out of position, this Lord is going to be so beneficial. Onyx, of course, have a lot of burst damage. They have a lot of true damage as well coming in from the Endless Battle, the Thunderbelts, the Starlium even in the hands of CW. They can clear the Lord fast. Bursty in nature, if they use all their spells onto the Lord, then Team Liquid can look for a big engage. Yaoi probably won't be able to do so, but JMZ can pull off a big engage. And looking at his own items, man, Blood Wings, that's King Gugun actually. My mistake.
Thunderbelt.
Got a bit too hype. But yes, Thunderbelt to full tankiness. He is doing a lot of damage right there. And the game has been going on long enough that those Thunderbelt procs have been kind of stacked up.
We gotta talk about that bounty, man, because they were ahead by 7,000 gold Fnatic Onyx. The fact that Kairi died gave the shutdown away, but gave the worst possible member you could give it to.
Yeah.
Kabuki got it off the Moscow, the late game power for TLID. He just gets online so much quicker now. And that's why, you know, with all the structures that they've been able to keep despite the first few objectives, that's why I said for TLID, it's not over. It's not as bad as it looks.
Yeah, and JMZ doesn't really need to be that playmaker. He could just be in front for the team, just tanking all the damage coming in from Fnatic Onyx and just absorbing that, soaking it all for himself. And now for Fnatic Onyx, back to the storyline, it feels like Team Liquid ID is always going to be their kryptonite in the opening legs, in the opening season of MPL ID. So now for Fnatic Onyx, they have to flip the script, they have to change this. Because Team Liquid, take a look at their lineup as well. This is such a versatile lineup, such a late game. If you're able to drag it back to like, what, 15, 16, 20 minutes, they have the power from the Moskov, the Julian, the burst potential as well. And Richie, we haven't been able to see that, you know, playmaking, diversion, flashy type of things that we have been expecting from him. But he's for later, and Fnatic Onyx has to be able to, you know, up their guard even more.
I think Fnatic Onyx also has to avoid fights in the jungle at this point. I mean, the only reason why they were losing so massively was because Yaoi was able to land a massive Minion's Fury and kind of zone everyone away. It landed on Kairi at least, that I can see, and even that was enough to kind of like slow down the damage potential from Fnatic Onyx and allow Team Liquid to try and just use these combos, right? The fact that King Gugun also came in and did a ton of damage with the Julian. If this was a more spread out fight, a more open fight, which we saw in the first few skirmishes from Fnatic Onyx, it's going to be a lot more difficult for Team Liquid to try and get their damage off. They're going to really be relying only on JMZ and Kabuki perhaps to really have that reliable DPS. Where they have to try and avoid these fights, because even before talking about the Minotaur, the Edith, the Loyi, right? When the Loyi was meta, we saw that in a fight on a thin corridor in the jungle, you almost never wanted to try and do that because the Loyi is so stacks so many passives and does so much crowd control and damage. So I think this all relies on how well Fnatic Onyx can kind of, I don't know, to open areas where they can be the ones that kind of hide in the bushes, hide on the sides, and go for these crazy flanks that can catch Team Liquid off guard. But keep in mind, the diversion is still a here that Team Liquid can use to surprise Fnatic Onyx, especially because they haven't been using it for the past couple of minutes.
With the X Factor, the surprise tool for Team Liquid ID, as they take a look at the Lord, sieging it soon, and they will just kind of counter-initiate, counter-engage to the players of Fnatic Onyx because they have so much reach, so much damage now. Play with final flash.
Scratch them down. Kabuki, only now does he make his way towards the Lord Pit, but it's all too late. James was left alone, isolated. Gugun just trying to find a bit of compensation, something, anything. But Fnatic Onyx deny it away from him.
That's just a beautiful play from Onyx, man. To begin with, Lutpi goes for the final slash as a threat, as a bluff almost. And Team Liquid were kind of discouraged. They moved back. Fnatic Onyx immediately jumped the Lord Craig out. And because of that, caught off guard, they were forced to use their spells at a less ideal moment. And that's why the Spear of Destruction also missed. It was thrown at the Lord, but the fights happen in the jungle of now with the Lord marching down, Fnatic Onyx looking for one more play to really seal the deal.
That was an insult to injury, missing that Spear of Destruction. As Fnatic the base of Team Liquid ID, they have to hold their ground. Oh, a slap towards Yaoi. They're engaging in front. They have so many tools to play with. The burst, the poke as well, looking towards Lutpi.
Do they have enough? That's the question. Primal Wrath used up by James, now onto the Lord. Quite vulnerable. Fnatic Onyx decide not to go for it just yet. Time's already using Primal Wrath. Great enhanced sword to escape from the final slash there. As Kabuki marches forward. Oh, for him, no final slash from Lutpi. But he calculated that well. For TLID, like you said, good wave clear, and they still will be able to see another day in this game.
Kabuki's feeling it. He's blitzing forward. He's the fact that he has that damage needed, and they can still hold on to their own base for so long because they have sustainable damage. They have that burst. They have that control with the Lord, and then you have Jay. That's that front line to just layer up the damage and the defenses coming in from Team Liquid ID. So Fnatic Onyx, they have to halt their moves to take down the crystal.
And right now, we saw that Kabuki went for that aggressive. He knew he had the Purify, worst case scenario, but he needs to try and keep in mind that it's not only about the crowd control. The way Fnatic Onyx works, it's all damage, right? If CW and Kairi both basic attack and maybe a Lycan Pounce, one additional spell above it, that could be enough to immediately delete Kabuki off the face of the Land of Dawn. So he needs to be worried about control, right? Death, getting taken out of the fight completely. You can see Richie build up the Winter Crown as well, anticipated the next fight to be an absolutely messy one. With 20 seconds on the clock, Team Liquid still having the destruction play. Go for the Spear of Destruction play again. It failed once already. Will they dare to try and pull it off one more time? How we even going for the Winter Crown? Everyone banking on having just a bit more outplay potential here to avoid the bulk of the burst damage. Because again, they know that once they survive the initial burst, there are no ways to try and fight back, especially with the Minotaur that can heal everyone up.
And now he can do what Sans has been able to do to him, right? Minions Fury, Winter Crown. So you can stay very safe.
The Winter Crown will be very, very... Oh, he kicked back though.
James walks forward, Minions Fury now. Good Winter Crown there. Used up with the Minions Fury. A four-man there, Sans gonna be isolated, final slash cancelled away, Lutpi still finds him, Richie takes Sans away, Kairi in the back still trying to go for it, kills Kabuki, getting rid of the Immortality, the motivation roar will make it hard for Kairi to go for it, but he'll still be able to find it all the way, demolishes the back line, Kairi is going, finds the yin-yang reaction despite the Immortality buy from the Sky King himself.
The cavalry charges forth towards the castle of the Sky Kings, and it is Kabuki spearing down the players of Fnatic Onyx. Keyboy left to defend his kingdom. Will this work out well for him? Because Kabuki is just an absolute beast.
30 seconds on the clock, 20 seconds for CW. They have a cannon mini, they have a lot more waves coming down in the mid lane, but they'll have to calculate it perfectly. Sans, 7 seconds. For him to respawn, Kabuki buys the immortality now. They need to go for the base straight up, and that's what he does. Kabuki on it, gets caught on the way to Dragon. Richie on it as well. This might be a little bit of a throw. Good speed of misery. Kabuki now doing some damage. Time to destruction. Going forward, Kabuki throws the speed of destruction, but it doesn't connect. He still goes forward, tries to make a desperate play happen, but it does not happen. Fnatic Onic, they shut down the miracle comeback.
A string of insane plays goes, dominoes falls for Team Liquid ID. They lose to the durability of Fnatic Onic with a lot of players respawning. Now it is their time to defend on the opposite side of the map. They are on the opposite side of the corner.
Unlike the previous run though, no base turrets to help displacing James. Good win a crown, but Songs pops in. Primal Rat, James all but isolated. Kick with the way to Dragon, a minute Fury finds two, but Lippy's still there, just trying to distract Gurgun as he goes into the hand sword, but he dies straight in towards Kairi's claws. A triple kill for Kairi, a winner crown, and game number one for the defending Indo champions.
The cavalry were charging forth, and it turns out their swords were